the majority of our rates in February. Would that give us a better picture now that we know how many we've got and how much rating money is going to be coming forward into the council before February?
So just through the Mayor, if I may, we do receive approximately 120,000 each month from those monthly instalment payments, and we also receive quarterly instalment payments as well. So those are received each month, 120,000, and each quarter we do receive instalment payments. The majority is still received in February when the final payments due. That is similar to past years. The trends are very similar.
So that would be about 8,000 customers.
We still have the same number of customers, so we have 927 customers that make a monthly payment each month.
Yeah, but overall the amount of people who pay rates, that's 12,000, I believe.
We have 12,500.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you very much. Councillor Cook.
Defaults. So where do they come from? Which cohort do they come from? The monthly instalments, quarterly or annual?
The majority are annual.
Which are just not paid and...
Correct.
And how much, roughly what percentage get rectified within, they go into default and then they're rectified presumably in a couple of months and you're left with what percentage roughly?
We might need to take that on notice to come back with some statistics, but we do generally have a small percentage that's rectified in a short period of time. We might contact some customers and offer payment plans. So we generally work with the customers to offer a number of payment options. There are some that still defaulting, so we do need to send some customers off to debt collection, which we have commenced some of that referral.
Thank you very much. And I do note on those couple of questions where our next strategic meeting, which sort of feeds into the budget for next year, will cover some of those items, and it's a concern with a lot of ratepayers going into default across the state. So I do note that we're working on that at the moment. That'll come to our next briefing on that, so we'll be able to get a more in-depth look at that if we like. Appreciating this is the revised budget. If there's any councillors, any further questions on the revised budget? It's just gone out for consultation and come back. If there's no further questions, councillors, is there a mover to the motion, which is on page 12 of the agenda? Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion is Councillor Gamble. Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. So as Mayor Sharkey mentioned, the revised budget's been out for public consultation, and again, we haven't received any submissions from the public. The revised budget will enable council to establish an overdraft facility, which will act as a smoothing mechanism so that council can make required payments even when cash balances are temporarily low. At the risk of repeating myself, this item has really highlighted the importance of this councillor group making decisions on the basis of robust, transparent and decision-fit information. It's our responsibility to subject these decisions to proper scrutiny and show the community that they can have confidence in our stewardship of public funds. But having thoroughly reviewed it, I am happy to move that we endorse this one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Gamble seconding the motion.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I've commented on this in previous meetings pertaining to the reasons and the necessity of having to adopt a revised budget. Some of those reasons are primarily the asset revaluation increases created significant increases in the depreciation expenses. There was also impacts and the timing from budget roll forwards with the when the grants are being released, and we can't control the application deadlines, final decisions being out of council's control. There's also multi-year projects and projects impacted by weather, for example. Unfortunately, some of these things all sort of coalesced at this time frame. And a key part of this revised budget is the proposed establishment of an overdraft facility, as Councillor Robbins mentioned, to assist with the short-term cash flow fluctuations during the year if required. I thank the finance officers and the CEO, Adam McSwain, for explaining thoroughly to the councillor group the serious issues surrounding this need for a revised budget and taking the course of action proposed in this revised budget to maintain certainty regarding financial sustainability for the next year. I admit I found the news of the circumstances leading to this revised budget, which were not anticipated, somewhat depressing, as I know the impacts to the things I especially and perhaps uniquely value and care for our local government to provide becomes especially that much more difficult to achieve with greater financial constraints. It will be harder to make inroads in many of these what were like my candidate priorities for things like climate action, community safety, wellbeing, connections, township enhancements, events, alternative transport options, biodiversity protection. So, but of great importance to everyone is the overall financial sustainability of Golden Plains Shire. And it should be noted our council is in no way unique in having to navigate these pressures, but our council has less levers than general ratepayers with a big and special area to provide services to. Nevertheless, in conclusion, I shouldn't say nevertheless, in conclusion, I'm very happy to endorse this course of action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Is there any councillor like to speak against the motion? Speaking against the motion, Councillor Kirby.
Thank you. Yes, I'm just very concerned about council having a credit card to the value of $2 million. I think
Sorry,
the shortfall.
just point of order, a credit card.
Well, to pay a bank card to, you know, to
You mean an overdraft facility?
overdraft facility, bank card, it's the same difference.
No, but a credit card does imply flippancy.
Okay, my apologies, because I just feel that, you know, we've had 6 to 8 years of knowing the position we are in today. As a council group, it was first came to our attention. It has not been acted on, and I feel that we are now in a position where we shouldn't be. We should not be in this position where we are looking for money to pay our bills. This is why I asked the question, how many ratepayers are now paying monthly? How many are paying quarterly? 5, 10 years ago, we didn't have these instalments. We virtually had everyone paid in February. Council got through it, got by. So we've just got to sit back and really look hard at what we're doing within council itself and make sure that we have got the money. If we haven't got the money to pay our bills, we shouldn't even be here. So I really think that we have to have a good hard look at what services we're providing. As Councillor Gamble said, you know, that we've all run on a campaign of trying to do things, but I think we heard what the residents have said, and they really want us to focus on the main core activities of council. And until we can get that right, I think we're going to be chasing our tails. We're having an extra 20,000 people in Bannockburn South. We're going to have to find more money for more infrastructure as we go. You know, we have lots of towns in our shire that can service people, and I think at the moment we're just going to be tearing our hair out to try and find the extra income to service the people of the Golden Plains Shire. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Councillors, is there anyone who'd like to speak for the motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan.
I think that people don't have an understanding of what an overdraft is. An overdraft is not borrowing money. An overdraft is a facility that you use when you have a cash flow problem.
That's
The
right.
cash is going to be coming in, so we want to kick this into gear. It's just a safeguard facility so we can pay our bills. And anyone that's run a business like I have for many years overdraft is always going to be there when people are slow paying. These people that we govern will pay, got to pay under legislation. The money will come in and we will be okay. It's just a facility that allows us to keep running, and it's not going to make any difference to anything.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Any councillor like to speak against the motion? For the motion? Councillor Robbins will ask you to close the debate.
Thank you. I'll just close by saying it's not really an issue of income, it's an issue of liquidity or cash balance. And there's a lot of reasons why our cash balance is lower now than it was 6 to 8 years ago. And part of that is because we have relatively low levels of borrowings, which you could look at as a good thing. Having a $2 million overdraft facility, as Des said, doesn't mean that we're borrowing $2 million. It means that we can borrow $2 million. So, as I said, I'm happy to move that we endorse this one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillors, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour of the motion? Those against the motion? The motion is carried. Thank you. Councillors, item 7.4, the annual report, which can be found on page 15 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? If there's no questions, I'll seek a mover to the motion.
I have a question.
Moving the motion, Councillor?
No, I'm asking a question, please.
Thank you. Question?
Thank you. Thank you. And just regarding the pet registrations for the upcoming year, I was just wondering why there is such a big difference between the two amounts in the figures. Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. I will direct the question through to Director Jordan. Thank you very much.
So just for clarification, we're referring to the state government's proposed increase in the charge they will apply to pet registrations.
Yes.
Just for itself, Mr Mayor, the state government has written to council advising of a proposed increase that they will be passing on in relation to each animal registration across the state, which incurs $4.64, a DECA fee that goes to the Treasurer, and they propose that that fee will rise to $9 per animal, so effectively a 94% increase on the current figure. Look, at this point in time, it is proposed. It does need to pass through Parliament, so the impact on our own animal registration fees is not yet known, so we'll stay tuned for that, but it wouldn't come into effect until the 1st of July 2026. So in relation to our upcoming animal rego in April, we'll know a little bit more when we hear where the state government go with that change at a parliamentary level.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director Jordan. Is there any further questions, councillors? I'll seek did you want to move, you were moving the motion, Councillor Kirby?
Yes, I can move that.
Thank you very much. And just seek a second of the motion, Councillor Gambles. Thank you very much. Councillor Kirby.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As we know, Golden Plains Shire has an area of 2,702 kilometres. We have 1,700 kilometres of local roads, a population of 25,000, and with a prediction of 42,000 people by 2041, so an increase of 70%. We have 1,541 children aged between 0 and 4, 6,749 children aged between 5 and 24, 11,269 adults aged between 25 and 59, and 5,404 people aged 60 plus. This goes to show the diversity within the Golden Plains Shire. As well, we had 376 people identifying themselves as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We have 12,375 rateable properties amongst our 56 communities. Over 70 services are provided to our communities. Over 56,000 inquiries are actioned by the customer experience team. 452,000 views on our council website and $215,245 awarded through the Community Grants Program. These are, I'm just letting the residents know that these are some of the issues and some of the what we actually provide by council to our residents. We had 2,689 young people participate in activities that promoted the voices of youth. 266 first-time parents with 285 babies born and 2,316 businesses registered within the Shire. These are just some of the strategic planning ideas that take place within these community programs. Significant highlights were made, and some of these included significant highlights were made. Some of these included council and rating plan adopted, the Lethbridge Play Space upgrade completed, refreshed community vision adopted, the Rokewood Community Hub, a $3.9 million project, the Linton Recreation Reserve Oval, $1.42 million, the Don Wallace Reserve upgrade, $798,000. So across the whole Shire, we are seeing money spent around the whole area. The Bannockburn Skate Bowl upgrade was $997,000. The Wadi Yallock Recreation Reserve lighting system, $550,000 project. We also had the Victoria Park new netball pavilion and football change rooms at a $1.79 million project, just to name a few of the great achievements for the last 12 months.
Thank you very much,
I
Councillor
look forward
Kirby.
to the challenges and future outlook for our Shire while advocating for roads, transportation, financial stability and balancing our population growth.
Thank you very much,
Am I
Councillor.
all right to go on?
I might just, I'll try and keep it in order. I'll come back with it. Maybe save a couple of those comments for closing, and I'll come back to you to close. If that's okay. Councillor Gamble.
Okay, thank you. This is one of the most significant and substantial documents produced by Golden Plains Shire. We've got it digitally, but a hard copy of it looks something like that. Past one. It's pretty heavy there. Anyway, involves a fair bit of effort and input across the organisation, so thank you to all who contributed to its production. For me, an annual report is a time for reflection. There are many highlights over the year. Councillor Kirby mentioned quite a few, and I've got a list myself that is completely different because there's so many of them. I've listed the successful delivery of important council-run events, connecting our communities and support for local business, including the Victorian Seniors Festival, the Golden Plains Monthly Farmer Market and the annual Twilight Market, the Careers Expo, school holiday programs, the Golden Plains Local Food Network, support for land care groups, community planning in all our bigger and medium-sized towns, the Active Golden Plains Network, events, activities, and the art trail, and running the community grants funding program, just for example. The council received over $9 million in external funding for major projects, as Councillor Kirby detailed, and we thank the federal and state government for their support and assure them our officers are doing a great job and working hard to make a positive difference for the people of Golden Plains Shire. However, I do think we need to balance the assessment of the year that's been with noting some of the realities and concerns over the year. Notably, the community perception, as indicated in the survey results, not so much social media, but those survey results are quite sobering. And also we've had a significant period of instability and negative media coverage, including comparisons with Game of Thrones, and having 5 different CEOs in the period of about a year. So, and not forgetting the tragic deaths of 2 children, school children, both from Teesdale. In the spirit of reflection, I would, however, like to acknowledge the sincerity of effort and care of past term councillors, particularly Brett Cunningham, and I thank all the past CEOs, interim and appointed, and directors no longer with us, for their professionalism and care in their time with Golden Plains. I'm sure we'll do much better into the next years, despite our financial issues, and I'm looking forward to being part of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? Appreciating it is the annual report. If any other councillor likes to speak for the motion, I might come back to you, Councillor Kirby, to close if that's okay with you.
Yep, thank you. So as I was going further ahead with my writings, I will continue. For capital expenditure, we had 19.3 million was spent on both renewal of assets, which totalled 48%, and 46% on asset upgrades. Council is working towards reducing the infrastructure renewal gap. So I think that's really good to know that we are working in that area, because over the years the renewal gap was getting to a greater divide, and because we know in the past that we've had to renew bridges, a lot more roads needed resurfacing, resealing. So I think at the end of the day we are doing a really good job in our renewing our assets. At the end of the 24-25, Council had borrowings totalling $6.7 million. This was 21.9%, which is well within the expected target base of less than 70%. Council's working hard in all areas, from the arts, children's services, kindergartens to roads and waste. Community consultation is always at the forefront, and this year has been very challenging due to the amount of our strategies that came with the new councillor group. So when we first get into council, we know that we have so many strategies in that first year of council. Once again, as was said by Councillor Gamble, thank you to all the CEOs, new and acting, and the staff from the directors down in achieving this budget, with the tight restraints and challenges of being a large rural shire. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. I will put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Skipping item 7.5, which has been dealt with, and going to item 7.6, review of instrument of appointment and authoritarianism of the Planning and Environment Act. And I'm losing myself here. Agenda, page 38, my apologies, page 38 of the agenda. Councillors, is there any questions? No questions. I will seek a mover to the largely procedural. Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Moving the motion, seconding the motion, Councillor. I'm happy to move. I'm happy to second it. Councillor Kirby.
This is a procedural matter that needs to be adhered to following the resignation of an employee who was on our list. This needs to be authorised to carry out our legislative requirements. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. Well put. Seconding the motion, because I couldn't get a second there. Is there anyone who would like to speak against the motion? Take this as read. With no one speaking against the motion, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item 7.7, procurement policy, page 42 of the agenda. And are there any questions, councillors? No questions. I'll seek a mover to the motion. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins. Seconding the motion, Councillor Cook. Councillor Robbins, thank you very much.
Thank you. The procurement policy is reviewed annually to make sure it keeps up to date with legislative changes, best practice and process improvements. This year's review includes several updates to strengthen our risk management and probity, and it inserts a statement that Council will work with suppliers that follow ethical practices, including fair labour, safe workplaces and compliance with modern slavery laws. this is an appropriate way for council to make a statement about using its purchasing power to achieve social outcomes. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Councillor Robbins. Second motion, Councillor Cook.
I think there's nothing further to say. It's something that can occur annually and should be done.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Speaking against?
No, I'd like to make an amendment.
Seeking an amendment to the motion, and that being? To add to section 4.3 to put in the phrase after modern slavery laws are not and are not a listed business on the database of business enterprises pursuant to Human Rights Council Resolution 3136 and 5325. I have circulated the full wording to councillors. Thanks very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillors, the amendment is seeking to still adopt the document with that change embedded into the document. I will seek a seconder to the motion. Seconding the motion, Councillor Kirby. Councillor Gamble, if you'd like to speak to the amendment to the motion.
Yes, thank you. We are obliged by state law to consider human right obligations as part of our procurement policy. This is clearly stated in and included in this procurement policy statement, section 4. 4.1 states, Council is committed to transparent, ethical and accountable procurement. 4.3 states, Council will work with suppliers who follow ethical practices including fair labour, safe workplaces and compliance with modern slavery laws. These are human rights issues and are included as a matter of best practice. Furthermore, rather than a generic local government procurement policy, all local governments are given the right to determine their own procurement policy. I'm asking for support to amend our Council's human rights obligations to exclude potential suppliers listed on the database of business enterprises pursuant to Human Rights Council Resolution 3136 and 5325, which I'll just call the database going forward. My amendment is to change that, section to, in full, quote, Council will work with suppliers who follow ethical practices, including fair labour, safe workplaces, compliance with modern slavery laws, and are not a listed business on the database of business enterprises pursuant to Human Rights Council Resolution 3136 and 5325. I believe ratepayers, like the majority of Australians, would not want their money being used to conduct business with companies that engage in or support the active killing and starvation of civilians, collective punishment, the forcible displacement of populations, ethnic cleansing, and the destruction of home and civil infrastructure. To quote the report of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, United Nations, quote, the Council mandated the creation and updating of a database of business enterprises involved in one or more of 10 listed activities in Israeli settlements. The report is based on an established methodology drawn from the guiding principles on business and human rights, on technical assessments and on factual determinations. The guiding principles remain the key framework. The list is a live document and it's mostly made up of Israeli companies, but some have a global reach that extends to the Shire, including accommodation tourism related businesses like Airbnb, Stays and TripAdvisor, and a heavy machinery company, which I believe is the third biggest in the world. As a matter of human decency and upholding a rules-based order on which peace, freedoms and our values rests, we should not do business with the companies listed in this United database.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Kirby seconding the amendment to the motion.
Thank you. Yes, I moved it for the wanted debate around the table. So I reserve my right. Thank you.
Reserving your
Yep.
right. Councillors, would anyone like to speak against the amendment to the motion? Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. I think the policy intent of Councillor Gamble's amendment is to ensure that council doesn't support human rights abuses, and I can certainly commend that goal. However, I can't see any reason to refer to this particular UN database. This database is not recognised in Australian law or policy. It's very narrow in scope, relating only to business activities in Israeli settlements in the occupied Palestinian territory. So it's sort of cherry picking one issue among many. It's more appropriate for the policy to include a broad, overarching commitment statement that provides a framework for evaluating suppliers, i.e. that they follow ethical practices, including fair labour, safe workplaces and compliance with modern slavery laws. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Would anyone like to speak for the amendment? Against the amendment? And I'll just ask you to just push your button there to it goes green. Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to speak against the amendment. The documents that are referred to by the UN, which is an international body and is not something that should be considered by a local government area. Individually, absolutely, but not on a local government basis. We are rates, roads and rubbish. If you look at the database and the businesses that are listed, there's 115 and they are pretty exclusively Israeli type business. This is an anti-Israel report and document. And the problem is that we are then discussing that in a council setting. That is not the sort of thing that we should be discussing at this. We shouldn't have to be taking sides. It really is a highly political document, which is anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, and that's not the sort of thing that the council should be concerned with. And it should not form part of our procurement policy. Some of the documents referred to, or businesses referred to in these documents, Allianz, general insurers, work cover insurers, CTP insurers for South Australia, Hyundai, any machines by Hyundai, Caterpillar, Microsoft, and that's the level that this sort of slippery slope will get us into, including Airbnb, TripAdvisor, but they're mainly or predominantly Israeli businesses, and we should not be involved in international politics.
Thank you very much,
and therefore we shouldn't adopt this amendment.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Would any other councillors like to speak for the motion? Against the amendment to the motion? Councillor Gamble, I'll seek you to close the debate on the amendment to the motion.
Yeah, I'll just say that this is not anti-Jewish. This is the United Nations Human Rights Commission we're talking about, the most highest level of accountability that was set up after the Second World War, after the appalling atrocities and the damage that wars did. It's to stop countries acting with impunity that cause the conflicts. I think we have to recognise that we are a lower level of government, but we're here to represent the best of our communities, to lead on issues, not just reflect the lowest common denominator. And we have this capacity to do that, to lead on an issue here with how we direct our expenditure and money that we, you know, a $60 million, something like that kind of business that has to make choices about how they use and engage that money. This database doesn't include those businesses such as Caterpillar and Microsoft. And I deliberately didn't go that far because of because that is more difficult to engage with the council is so dependent and intertwined with those sort of companies. And we need to, that needs a lot more consideration. But this database predates it dates back to 2013, I think.
Thank you very much.
Can I just finish? There are many people around the world, including in our shire, that feel powerless and depressed about the situation that's still unfolding. People are being killed all the time by a and they don't. We shouldn't be using our ratepayers' money for the benefit of businesses. They're engaging in horrific war crimes against the defenceless and trapped civilian population. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillors, I will put the amendment to the motion to a vote. All those in favour of the amendment to the motion? Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. And all those against the amendment to the motion? The amendment to the motion is lost, and I fall back then on the motion which was put forward by Councillor Robbins, seconded by Councillor Cook. I seek a... Would anyone like to speak to the motion? Against the motion? I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item 7.8 on page 73 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? There's no questions to item. I'll seek a mover to the motion. Gifts, benefits and hospitality. Councillor, fairly simple one. Would anyone like to move the motion? Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook, thank you very much. Councillor Robbins, again moving a motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a review of the gifts, benefits and hospitality policy. It applies to staff and councillors, and it outlines how we should respond to offers of gifts, benefits and hospitality. This policy is in line with public sector best practice guidelines. The review clarifies matters relating to anonymous gifts and cumulative gifts over the course of 5 years. Occasionally, individuals and groups in our communities do want to show their appreciation to council staff and councillors. Responding appropriately when those offers arise is an important way that we avoid actual or perceived corruption. So I'm happy that this policy makes it clear how to do that and happy to adopt these updates. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook, seconding the motion.
Yes, and I think it provides a good framework where by people and ratepayers can see the expenses and the gifts that have been given. And if you wish to go through the documents as they stand at the moment, you'll see that there really is not that much going in favour of councillors at this stage. But it's certainly something that should be shown and should be quite transparent. So.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Is there any councillor that would like to speak against our two lawyers that have moved and seconded the motion? Would anyone like to... nobody speaking against the motion. I will put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item 7.9, councillors, page 96 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions?
Just 1 second. I've just got to get the page, sorry.
Page 96 of the agenda.
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you. Just regarding the Wadey Yallock master plan. Just give me a second. Okay, at the moment, we have a hall that is non-compliant for sports that cannot be played to a professional standard. Have we looked at increasing the size of that area? Because this is the master plan now and it really needs to be put in place at the start rather than go down the track and say, why didn't we do it? So what it is we need to include costings for increasing the hall to be compliant for structural sports. This is the runoff area between the length and the width of the hall. With a growing community, this could also increase the participation of this venue. We have done this with all football and netball services in the Shire to be compliant.
Yes, this is a question. This sounds like you're speaking to...
No, it's a question because I can't speak to it. I'll need to ask the question.
Sounds like a very long question.
It is a long question, yes. That's so that the officers can get the gist of what I'm trying to adhere to.
Just appreciating this as questions, not a time for debate.
Okay. So have we actually done any further work? Because I know that down the side of the building there is two areas where there is sports equipment areas that are joined onto that building. And is there any chance that we could get costings to see how much it would cost us in the future to increase that size of the hall to be compliant? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Councillor. Through you, Mr. Mayor. At this stage, we haven't done those costings, but they're relatively easy at the concept level. You normally grab out the Rawlinson's handbook of costings, and I think it's about $5,000 a square metre, the going rate, something like that. But we haven't actually included in that because the brief for the consultant was to look at the site, not necessarily the building. The building was compliant when we built it, and when it was built, but the guidelines have changed. So if there was ever high demand for that competition level facility, we'd have to look at it. But at this stage, we haven't costed it, no.
Could you?
We could. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further questions, councillors? Seek a mover to the motion, to the recommendation. So Councillor Robbins moving the recommendation to a motion, seeking a seconder, seconding the motion. Councillor Kirby, thank you very much. Councillor Robbins.
Thanks. Wadey Yallock Recreation Reserve is a valued local facility in Smythesdale with a number of regular user groups. The master plan identifies and prioritises a number of possible improvements to benefit the various user groups. It's worth noting that several of the more ambitious improvements are unlikely to happen without an external funding commitment. Part of the reason for having a master plan is to help with identifying priority projects that might attract external funding. The draft plan went out for community feedback and there were 16 submissions. Some were quite detailed, so that's a really good level of engagement, which we really like to see. And with that feedback having been incorporated, I'm moving that we adopt the plan. Thank you.
Very much. Councillor Kirby seconding the motion.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm really pleased that we are doing a master plan for the Wadey Yallock Centre. We have spent some really big dollars improving the facility over the years, and because of that we've now seen different groups, and we've seen the Wadey Football Club actually from Haddon come along, and it's such an exciting place to be now because they've got ranges from under 12s, they do junior Auskick, and then they also go up to under 18s. So they're part of the Ballarat and District Football League. So what I'm saying is we have two stadiums in the Shire in the north and both are not compliant. So it's a shame that we can't, use some of our initiatives now to put these in place to make them compliant. If we did that, we could see future night games, as we do here in Bannockburn at the stadium. They could, you know, they can encompass netball, football, basketball, indoor soccer, indoor cricket. So there's a lot of games that can be played indoors. So I just think that while we're doing the master plan, let's think ahead. Let's think of the future. We are going to see quite a number of houses built in that area, so it's only going to attract new residents, new people to use that facility. As I was saying, with the existing storerooms, this could make way for the extra width within the sports hall, and I think that it could be an option if we were to take out one wall and might just have to extend the length of the width of the actual building to make it compliant. I have taken note of what everyone has said in the report regarding what they would like to see. I think that there is some really good improvements that could be had, because as we know, there's never enough trees in a public park. There's never enough seating and bench space, for people to go and have a picnic or enjoy the facilities where the BMX track is and the skate park. So we have done some great work down there, but we do need to keep looking at the master plan and making sure that, we're looking after it. We don't want to have to rebuild this again in another 5-10 years. Let's look after our asset, let's maintain it, let's improve it, and I think it'll be a bonus to the whole community of Smythesdale and surrounds. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Kirby, would any other councillor like to speak against the motion? Nobody speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.10, page 100 of the agenda, councillors. Are there any questions? If there's no questions, I'll seek a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Cook. Seconding the motion, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Cook, thank you.
Thank you. This acquisition of land, or the land transfer, has come up a number of times before council, and has been well done and has been explained thoroughly. And now it's just implementing that alignment, so that not only the ratepayers can develop their land, but the council will have a useful block that it can also develop, and the overall community will benefit from that. And now is the time to put it into force.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you. I think Councillor Cook summed that up quite well. I'll just say, just to be clear, the decision that we're making tonight is not a decision to develop the land, but only to change the ownership of the land, disposing of one piece of land and acquiring another. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor, does anyone like to speak against the motion? Nobody speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 7.11 on page 110 of the agenda. Councillors, are there any questions? No questions. I'll seek a mover. Nobody moving the motion, it's going to lapse. Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Do I have somebody to second the motion? Councillor Hayden, thank you very much. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. This report is in accordance with the public transparency principles under the Local Government Act, and I don't have too much to say about it, but happy to note it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hayden.
As per Councillor Robbins.
Thank you very much. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.12, page 114 of the agenda. I will seek a mover to the delegates report unless there is any questions. Moving the motion. With no councillor moving it, and let it lapse if we like.
I'll move it.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble, moving the motion. Like a dentist pulling teeth. Is there anyone who would like to second the motion? Councillor Hayden, thank you very much. Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, thank you. Not a lot to report. I think it's been for myself personally, it's been a fairly quiet period for your run-of-the-mill councillors, but I did attend the farmers market, and I also been involved with the Teesdale Planning Group and the commission of their community survey, which has reminded me how important the function that is to the community planning groups in our townships. And it's a really good... I wasn't actually even going to be back on it because I used to be what they call a community coordinator in the past, but when I didn't get back onto council initially, then I sort of went back into those sort of community things directly, and now I have a sort of more just more a helping out kind of role. But the to know that structure and process is going on through different communities around in every township basically in our shire is fantastic, because they're all quite different and got their own characteristics, and you get a really good sense of through the surveys especially, because we're looking to get 200 or 300 responses directly from people thinking about what they want to see in their community. I think it's a resource that I have suggested this recently, that the council officers should avail themselves more of to get that sort of more a different angle of engagement rather than the more direct sort of survey methods that we use at the moment. But anyway, they're the main things I've done, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Hayden.
I'd just like to take the opportunity to say that myself and Councillor Sharkey attended the Golden Plains Skin Centre launch, and just to use the opportunity to remind people, with summer coming up, Australia has the highest rate of skin cancer in the world, and we are incredibly lucky to have such an amazing centre in our area, which is easy and accessible to get in. And from a personal perspective, they picked up a melanoma on me and probably saved my life. So encouraging people to take advantage of an incredible centre that we are lucky to have in our shire. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hayden. Any other councillor like to speak to the delegates' report? Councillor Kirby, would you like to speak?
Thank you. First of all, I'd just like to say that I attended the Battle of the Bands in Bannockburn, and what an exciting afternoon it was. It was full of the hall was full, and it was a really good experience knowing that the youth are there and they're showcasing themselves and they're performing for the first time, some of them. So we had a first time performer, which was Electra World, a true event for her to have a go and to present to the community. A well-deserved first place went to Apples, a Ballarat band. But the lead singer is actually a local from Doreel, so how exciting was that? And they do all attend a school in Ballarat, which was very pleasing to see, but to know that there was a local is really, really good. They will now be leading the act next year in the Battle of the Bands. Second place went to Under the Sun, a duo with fantastic vocals. I'd like to thank the youth team and Amplify, a Victorian government initiative that supports young people from the age of 12 to 25. So for next year, if there's anyone between that age group, please come along and showcase your talent. There was another young girl, and they didn't get an award on the afternoon, but she will be showcasing, and she's going to be in a play at the Geelong Performing Arts Centre. So I said I'd definitely go along because I think we couldn't quite hear her because the band was so loud, but apparently her voice is magical. So once again, I'd really like to make sure that we go along, and I see that especially. I'd also like to congratulate Des on his award for 30 years in local government. I could have written an email, but I think it's more personal, even though you're not here with me now, Des, but congratulations. We've worked together for a long time within the Golden Plains Shire.
Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, I forgot to bring this to council last month, but I have a brown paper bag. And that's why I kept forgetting to bring it. So anyway, what it is we had I attended the Ganesh Festival, and that's in part of the Ballarat Hindu Temple and Cultural Centre. As I said, I did mention it last time, but this was a gift to the Golden Plains Shire, and I think it's just nice to see it in person and make sure that all the Hindu people out there can see that we do recognise them at the Golden Plains Shire. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Thank you. Any other councillors like to add to the delegates' report? I'll just add. Sorry, Councillor Robbins. The sun,
Thank you. I attended the Smythesdale Community Planning meeting. They had posters on the wall with project suggestions from the community survey, and there was a dotmocracy exercise where people could vote on their top priorities for Smythesdale. And of course, it's always tough to stay focused on the scope of the community planning program, because when people think about the future of Smythesdale, they think of the country grocers development and the pedestrian crossing in Brook Street, and we know that those things are planned and we look forward to them, but they're outside the scope of the community planning program. But they had lots of great suggestions up on the wall, and I think quite a few of the suggestions were from children from the area, which was entertaining at times, but really good to see. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Now the councillor like to speak. I'll just add to my report there that busy month round, so it was good to get round and like Councillor Kirby, I won't steal all of Councillor Phelan's time, that he'll probably go into his delegates report on how he was commended by the MAV, and I won't steal your thunder, Des. I'll let you speak to that in a few moments regarding your accolade. And there's not too, and yeah. Quite honestly, as Councillor Kirby said there, it's there's not too many councillors that there's not too many people that get on council. There's not too many that can celebrate 4 years, but to get up to 30 years, it's fair achievement, Councillor Phelan. And I know there was a good flurry of emails that came in from people around the sector that wanted to acknowledge that as well. So. I do believe you were the only one in the whole state that got that far. And
good on you.
Yes, well done, Councillor Phelan. Also, just like to add from a mayoral point of view, probably the peri-urban organisation this month probably took up a considerable amount of time and effort, with both myself and CEO being asked to advocate with the peri-urban group at both state and federal levels. So a very, very good opportunity. I think it's one that I find personally quite frustrating in terms of sometimes when we go to advocate for something that's so important to us, but we are a small shire, and particularly yesterday up in Canberra, trying to advocate for peri-urban councils like us. I think particularly previous mayors and councillors can appreciate the challenge that we have as peri-urban councils, and as Councillor Kirby mentioned a few times tonight, and it's a common theme at all our meetings regarding that sort of infrastructure gap that we have. Our metro friends seem to get life a lot easier than us in terms of getting that infrastructure there. We have such a low rate base that it is a challenge. Councillor Gamble highlighted in speaking there regarding sort of both our asset plan and our annual report in terms of trying to get those assets and infrastructure into our community, because we know our communities can't survive without that. It is going to be a challenge for many years to come. increasing rates on our ratepayers isn't the answer. We do need sort of both federal and state funding to allow us to do those things. So it was very good. We got a very good hearing at both Canberra and state. I think we have planted a good few seeds there, and hopefully there's some exciting announcements, particularly at state government level into the next year as we head towards an election. So outside of that, I'll also note G21, as we can appreciate, it's going through a little bit of a transition, a significant transition at the moment. I'm still probably trying to get my head round where we're headed with that as well. After this meeting, I think I will actually ask. So I don't believe G21 has given out a sort of a press release on where we're sort of at the moment. So I think that it'd be good to sort of get a little bit of a press release from G21 to sort of acknowledge where we have been, where we're going, and part of my input into the group at the moment is that I truly believe that the decisions that G21 make shouldn't be just about the current G21 board, that conversation should come out to councillors and all the councils around our region to have input into where we're headed. G21 is a significant investment for a small council like us, and it has been for many years, and it's something that all of us have truly valued into the future in all our time. So I think it's quite important that we keep a line of sight on where G21 is going for a small little council like ourselves. And outside of that, councillors, that concludes my month. Any other councillors like to speak to the delegates' report? Councillor Phelan, I can see your finger moving there.
I'd just like to say that I appreciate the fact that you support me as a councillor, or the council does, and you don't get the accolades or the accolade that I got without having really good support and coming from really good councils. And that goes across the board, staff and everything. And I've been lucky in my 30 years on council to work with really good people and really good staff. And I'm also lucky to represent really good people. And I think that my virtue in local government has been to tell people the way it is, not to lead them along and say, I might do this or I might do that. I say, this is what's going to happen, or this is what should happen. And to go on that night down there was, I had a 30-year badge and there was 3 councils got 20-year badges. And it was a good night, Adam was there with me. And I thought that when I left there and came home, I thought, well, 30 years of appeal was a long time, but I've enjoyed every bit of it. And I know that I can be obnoxious and all the rest of it, but I think I really go to council to represent the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Phelan. Councillors, I will put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, item 7.13. I might just introduce this one myself, and I might ask the CEO just to speak to the report. Councillors, this is the first time that we've had this report on our agenda. It's something that I spoke to the CEO about when he first came along, trying to put something, shape something. So this is the start of something, and this may turn into something else and whatever. But I think it's really, really good for both us as councillors to be able to just get a bit of line of sight of the work that CEOs do, but also for the broader community to get a little bit of that line of sight as well. It is purely intended as information sort of only, and not huge discussion around it, but it is good for many reasons to get that line of sight. So I will ask CEO, and I thank you, Mr. CEO, for the time and effort you've put into putting this together for us. Thank you.
Yep, thanks, and through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, the intent is sort of just effectively a bit of a monthly update. I always think there's a lot of work that we do as an organisation that I don't think we take for granted, but it's people doing their day jobs, and this just gives us a chance once a month to highlight a few bits and pieces for councillors. A lot of these things you will be across, but equally for those people in the community who might look at the agenda and maybe they pick up on 1 or 2 things that we're doing that they might not otherwise have been across. So probably one I just did want to highlight this month, and that I think councillors as much as staff should be incredibly proud of is the Growing Places strategy. Obviously, I didn't have anything to do with it. It was adopted a month or two before I came on board council. But it's a piece of work that when I've been talking with a range of state government departments and certainly internally, I think the organisation's incredibly proud of that piece of work. And I think councillors as well, the way it was sort of brought through lots of strategic discussion. And so really pleased that it's now been nominated for a Planning Institute of Australia award for planning excellence. So I think a great recognition for our strategic planning team and some excellent work that they have done. And then also just a couple of updates that, yeah, the exciting Bannockburn Bike Park is progressing, and I think a tender will come to council pretty soon on that. And of course, council's always important resealing program is progressing well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Councillors, can I have someone to move the motion, the recommendation on page 120, moving Councillor Kirby, seconding Councillor Gamble. Thank you very much. Councillor Kirby.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. CEO, for your report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Councillor Gamble, seconding the motion.
I'd just say I think it's good to sort of frame the meeting with some a perspective from the organisation as well as just the councillors.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? With no one speaking against the motion, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. With no notices of motion, no petitions, no urgent business, I do note there is a confidential item for consideration tonight. These items are considered confidential as defined in Section 3 of the Local Government Act. Can I please have a councillor to move the recommendation that we move into a closed session? Moving the motion, Councillor Gamble. Seconding the motion, Councillor Cook. All those in favour? The motion is carried. Thank you.
I will excuse myself.